Hey guys, it's Cayden Henschel. I want to take a few minutes to talk about my journey through wrestling and how I'm currently ranked #1 undefeated at the top of Division II at 141 pounds. We're going to be talking about my first time through college wrestling, my faith, my mindset, and really what kind of matters on this journey. So if you're a high school or college wrestler or just someone chasing their goals, this is for you. For those of you guys who do not know my entire journey, let's take it back to my freshman year of college. I'm straight off of a high school state title. I'm like on top of the world at that time. But now, come college, there's tougher mountains to climb. I knew that college was going to be a challenge, like just the practices, just the new environment. I mean, you got to do, everything on yourself, different, coaches, all sorts of different variables that played in a factor. And also that is the competition. People in college, these guys, you're not wrestling boys anymore. Like these are full grown men who aren't going to give you anything. I'll tell you the story. So one of my first college wrestling practices, we did live goes and basically it was like matches. But again, if you got pinned, you were just going to sit there and get pinned. Now get this. I slap hands, get ready to go with, the starting 141 pounder at that point. He takes me down in maybe, a minute and a half way through. Then he throws in the legs. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. I always have gotten out in the past. Boy, was I wrong. I got in turn and I just sat there. And I'm talking sat there on my back for over 5 minutes from that point. And let me tell you, this was not just a once, in a lifetime type of deal. Especially my first year, I want to let you guys know that there was weeks where I wouldn't get an actual takedown in a live go on these guys in the practice room. So clearly it was rough. If you guys don't know, that was the COVID year. And so that's when you couldn't really go to tournaments. There was no freshman, sophomore stuff. There was literally only a couple duels. And the only way that I could wrestle, because of course I didn't start, I got thrown in the legs and pinned instantly. And I was getting beat by, our 125 pounder. Of course he's insane, but regardless, 2 weight classes below me, I didn't think that should happen. Clearly when I first stepped on the Parkside mat, I was not where I wanted to be. Maybe even where I thought to be. I ended up going 1-3 in that season. I did start one duel actually versus Augustana, and I was wrestling a great match. I think the guy qualified for nationals the year before. And then again, I chose down and got cradled and got pinned. And I'm telling you, your first college duel getting pinned, and that pin probably cost us the duel if I wouldn't have gotten pinned. I mean, for a guy who even was doing YouTube, for years at this point, I mean, it's like everyone's going to see this. People have, high expectations. You have expectations for yourself. And when that's the first, hey, welcome to Parkside. This is Cayden Henschel. You got, pinned. Wow, did that suck. And, honestly, I didn't feel like I belonged at that level. I mean, these guys were so much better than me. And heck, just the entire division, I thought it was such an anomaly to get, on the wrestling rankings. I think we had, maybe 1 or 2 guys that were ranked my freshman year, maybe. I don't even know, but I mean, it was rare. And to think that I would even have gotten an opportunity to even get ranked, I was like, wow, that's a whole mountain in itself. Everyone knew me as, the YouTube guy, made YouTube content, but they didn't really put me in this bracket of wow, he's a great wrestler, especially at that college level. That's what I was after. And, there was times that year, I remember talking with Kelsey and being like, I hate this. I hate making wrestling content when I'm not even performing well, in competition. There was times when I broke down and I'm like, what am I going to do? I love making YouTube videos, but heck, I hate making it about wrestling right now. This was a very, very real thing. And as much as I think I would never have left wrestling, because clearly here I am today, but it was, it could have been easy to think wrestling isn't for me. Maybe this mountain is way too tough to climb. But more than just the stats, I want to talk about some real thoughts. The truth is, I was super down on myself through the results of my first year. But the thing is, I made the decision to keep going because I believed in the process. It was a marathon and not a sprint. But here's the thing that got me going. Now, one of the biggest things I can share with you guys is my faith, and hopefully that can make your guys' faith a little bit stronger. I truly believe all actions, all my consequences, everything in my life has led towards a greater goal. I mean, maybe someone who I am today, and maybe I'm still going to chase that person tomorrow, and for years on end. And I'm a firm believer that Jesus is currently guiding my steps and at least guiding me down the path to get closer to him. In years past, my faith was definitely not this strong. And of course, today, I'm more active than ever than talking about it, because now I feel like my faith is so much stronger. I feel like I have an obligation to share because, I mean, that's what God wants us to do. And wrestling is tough. It's so physically and mentally demanding and spiritually demanding. And I think at times early on in my career, I was just I had this, I need to do it, for myself. I need this to succeed. I can't see myself, having bad results, or I need YouTube to work for myself. And it's easy to get lost in the grind. So that's why you got to go back and think, okay, who's this all for? And that's why during that time, since I was 1-3 my freshman year to now being, in my 5th and, final senior year, I continually have been just praying for just the opportunity to just get better at wrestling, get closer in my relationships. And, ultimately this year, like everything I do, I just want to glorify God in that. And when we've been doing these like tough workouts, and I'm saying tough, live wrestling workouts, conditioning workouts, whatever it is, I just have different thoughts of where it's not as much me anymore trying to convince myself to push through. I'm just like, this is for the glory of God. Like, I'm glorifying God in this. Like, take one foot after the next and keep moving forward. I've written in my journal for past 4 months right now, is my big vision reminder is all for the glory of God. And I don't want this just to be like a get close to God so you can get better at wrestling. I truly think it just puts yourself in perspective. To lose the anxiety, to lose the anger, to lose the fear and the doubt of who I was my freshman year. I mean, I had so much, fear, doubt, and anxiety, and now coming into my last year, and it's like I still haven't accomplished my goals, results-wise through wrestling, but, I feel more alive than ever, and I feel like I can actually accomplish my goals. And I know it's not just about winning or, getting ranked number first or winning titles. It's about the journey and the way that I can use my platform to glorify Him. And every time I step on the mat, I remind myself that, it's not about the outcome. It's about giving my best effort for Him and that He's guiding my steps through. With that being said, it's not all about rankings. Right now, I'm ranked number 1 at 141 pounds. But let me tell you something. The ranking doesn't define me. Now let's take a trip back to my junior year of high school. I was ranked number 1 in high school, and I was going to basically the qualifying tournament, sectionals. I made it to the finals, and I was just ready to qualify for state. Long story short, I lose in the finals to the number 2 ranked kid in the state, who's now my teammate at Parkside. Long story short, we go to basically the true second match. Whoever would win this match would qualify for state. I'm the number 1 ranked guy. I'm like, all right, let's just do this. Let's win. And once again, I lose that match. I was completely dumbfounded. I just remember bawling my eyes out just in disbelief. I mean, not even just that day, but over the course of it was that month. It would just be at random times where it's man, I trained so hard for this. This meant so much to me. It was destiny. I had to win. And at that time, I was super obsessed about rankings. I was making sure that I would wrestle to not lose instead of to win or to dominate. And I could see myself falling away from the person that got me there. And I think that's very prominent on where I'm at today. What I've been doing has been working, but I can't just stay stagnant. I can't just be here and not get better. And truly, I think the biggest thing is not attaching your worth to how you do results-wise. Because if you put your worth in your wins and losses, you're gonna get lost in the chase. And when I did go 1-3 as a freshman, I didn't feel like I had much to show for my results, but I realized that, whether I won or lost, I realized that I was still progressing. I was still learning. It's about building a mindset that says, I'm going to keep getting better no matter what. Whether I'm ranked 121st in the country, whether I'm ranked 50th, whether I'm ranked 20, 10, 5, 1, it doesn't matter. And heck, all a ranking is, it basically tells you how they did in the past, and what today is, that's completely different. And I have a goal of, reaching the top of the podium in March for nationals. And I think I've been always putting that on a very, very high pedestal. And it's so hard and it's tough, but you have to ground yourself. You have to put things in perspective. And, for me, what I think is working is literally just glorifying God in what I do. And through that, I build on my character, who I am as a person, and that's what counts. Now, the season is long and you're probably going to hit plateaus. For instance, in my 3rd year in college, I got as high as ranked number 2. I was number 2 going into the national tournament. And at that time, it was I didn't believe myself to be ranked number 2 because I didn't even beat anyone in the top 10. It was I was gifted in number 2. And I just feel like I didn't earn it. Long story short, I go 1-2, losing the blood rounds. Next year, once again, I know I can win. I lose to the national champ in overtime earlier in the year, and once again, losing the blood rounds at nationals. You're going to hit plateaus. You're going to hit those walls. But you got to have something to keep the fire alive. What are you doing everything for? Where do you see yourself in 10 years, in 25 years? Right now, I'm thinking about my family. How can I set myself and my family up for success? Heck, when I bring a kid into the world, right? I feel okay, I gotta be financially stable and everything, and I want to have purpose in my wrestling through YouTube. I want to help people succeed. You need something to have that fire inside, and for the most part, no one else can light it. It really does have to come within you. And I think it's cool. It's like I'm ranked #1 right now, but I'm not satisfied with how I wrestle, especially like at the last couple duels, and heck, even Midwest. Like there's opportunities to like crush my opponents, and I'm like taking like a pedal back. In regards to wrestling, it's like never being satisfied with where you're at. You cannot be stagnant. There's always room for improvement, whether you're a freshman, super senior, and in order to win, you gotta keep moving forward. So let's talk about what this all means for you. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, is that only you get to decide what is valuable for you. I feel very, very blessed and fortunate, to have this, ranking of #1, right? Like it's all nice, it's pretty, and people give you your flowers. Like I'm very, like, I know that I'm blessed and I'm very fortunate, but I have this urge and this drive and, again, like the fire inside that's like, I need to do better. I know I'm maybe destined for more. I know I have more to give and more to show and more people to, reach and help. And depending on where you guys are at on your journey, you don't have to feel, let's say, ashamed if you lose, especially if like it's in a big match. Heck, even if you medal, maybe you get like 4th place at a tournament, maybe you never placed that before. Heck, I mean, give yourself a round of applause if you want. Heck, if you get 2nd, I mean, that's great. Sure, you might have lost in the finals and you're trying to get down on yourself, but hey, give yourself a way to just congratulate yourself, right? It's all easy to get caught up in the noise, but at the end of the day, the real victories aren't the ones always shown on the scoreboard. Whether you're a high schooler dreaming of making it to state, winning a state title, college wrestler dreaming of winning a national title, remind yourself of the things that truly matter and what got you there and what you need to continue to do or do differently to get where you need to go. You keep working, you keep improving, and you stay humble. And no matter what, stay grateful for the journey because it's all part of the plan. Now, as I wrap up, I just want to say thank you so much for just everyone constantly supporting me. I started, taking YouTube seriously in the past, 8-7 years or so. And to you guys currently competing in the sport, keep improving, keep moving forward. And remember, rankings are just numbers. The score before every single wrestling match is always 0-0. No one has a clear advantage. Your growth is what matters. It's not where you are, it's where you're headed. And now I know I keep kind of saying this, but if there's one final tip I can leave you with, whatever you are trying to manifest or attain, try to get yourself in the feeling that you already attained it, that you are already, the national champion. Literally wake up and just say, I am the national champion. I am this year's national champion. And be as specific as you can. And that's something that I've done for a lot of things in my life, and I'm truly grateful for that. And that is gonna end off the video. Now, before we head off, I actually have some cool announcements. We got a merch drop coming up. We are finally coming out with the Flat Man merch collab. We got 3 different sweatshirts, we got 2 different t-shirts, and the shirt that I'm currently wearing right now is the bread and butter design. Super hyped the way it turned out, but it is releasing this Wednesday, January 8th at 2 p.m. Central Time. So depending when this video is out, I'll have that linked in the description below. But thank you guys truly so much for watching. I appreciate all you guys, and we'll see you guys next video.
Let me know if you're on skate. Rolling with a gang. Totally, man, you shake. Told it with a gang.